So one of the biggest events in the history of Buddhist philosophy is that in the 2nd century, this Indian philosopher named Nagarjuna instituted a philosophical movement called Madhyamaka, or middle way philosophy. And his principal philosophical text is a text called, in Sanskrit, Mula Madhyamaka Karika, or fundamental verses on the middle way. And it becomes one of the most important, most frequently commented on texts in Mahayana Buddhist philosophy. And the people you have gathered in this room are actually a lot of the leaders in Madhyamaka studies in the world. Sandy Huntington, who's one of the other scholars involved, wrote a paper about recent interpretations of Madhyamaka in which he attacked a number of different approaches to reading Madhyamaka, including my own.
Normally speaking, what we do is we read the text, and we don't talk about the ways in which we prepare ourselves to read the text and how that influences our reading. In other words, the presuppositions that we bring to our reading and how that influences the meaning we find.
The argument between us is an argument not just about what Nagarjuna meant and what Nagarjuna was trying to do philosophically, but about methodology, about how you should go about reading classical Indian Madhyamaka texts, how you go about commenting on them, and the ways in which you bring Indian Madhyamaka texts into dialogue with contemporary philosophy in the West.
The problems that were important in the 5th century are still very much alive today, for better or worse. And I don't think these problems are going to go away. These are not the kinds of things one finds a solution for. These are the kind of things that in the process of investigating them, one is somehow transformed, not by finding an answer, but by going deeper into the questions.
But a number of people have become interested in the methodological issues that they raise, but just what we're doing when we as 21st century Americans or Europeans are reading a 2nd or 3rd century Indian philosophical text and a string of commentaries stretched out over the centuries in India, Tibet, and China, and trying to figure out what those texts mean and what's significant about them.
The way this has been constructed is to enhance the actual exchange of opinions in a slightly formalized dialogue format, a conversational format. That's unique, and it works in a tradition that has always favored debate as a way of getting at new understanding.
We're good friends, by the way. Even though if you read the papers, it might sound as though we're going after each other. Everybody in this room are good friends. That's one of the things that makes it work for me. Personal highlight for me was my ex-student, Connie Kasser, who was a Smith Buddhist Studies student who's now working on her PhD at Emory, sitting at a table with some of the most famous, most distinguished, and sometimes scariest people in the area that she's chosen to specialize in, and as a graduate student, giving a totally cool, totally poised presentation where she attacked my work. I was so proud. That was my highlight.